back again. I am. And guess what? This video is for, you already know who it's for, the big rigs, okay? This video is for the big rigs, not the Tonka Truck SEOs. This is for the bulk ponies, the people who actually want to dominate the SEO scene. And if you're here on my channel for the first time, understand that I do completely unscripted. Today is a little bit more scripted and uncut videos showing you things about SEO that no one else will show you. These are practical things that you can walk away from, that you can actually do today, okay? And if you don't believe me about that, just go to my channel. There is information, insights, things on my channel about SEO that I guarantee you no other SEO is talking about. So just wait through the video or check out some other stuff, things that will shock you. Links that you can get, whatever you want, like anything under the sun, black hat stuff, white hat stuff. I'm giving it all to you, okay? So like, subscribe, comment, give me some kudos. Make sure that you're watching and spread the word. All right, today we're going to talk about building authority backlinks because the question that I get a lot is, does backlinks actually help you build authority? And the answer is yes, but we're going to distinguish this today. We're going to decipher and show you in this video the difference between authority and EEAT, because they're actually different. Even though it says authority, it says it right in the EEAT thing, but guess what? You're misunderstanding how they're kind of putting all this together. And it's not your fault. Google's making it awfully confusing and it's silly. And I actually had to sign up for a service just to show it to you because I don't even do this anymore, like this type of link building. So I spent 50 bucks on this video, so you better like it, okay? Let's get going. So let's start with a nice quote. It isn't what we don't know that gives us trouble. It's what we know that ain't so. Will Rogers. Gotta love that. Come on. That's a great one. So in today's video, we're going to cover building authority backlinks. This is the missing link, literally. If you're building links of any kind, if you're just building a site, okay, this will help you to get the authority from Google that you're looking when you write good content, when you are, thinking about producing helpful content, and you're kind of wondering, hey, I'm writing all this helpful content, but Google's not picking it up. Why is that? All right, we'll get into that today. So number one, the thing that we're going to understand is the concept of a seed website. And no, this isn't what the other SEOs have said, so just hold tight. Some of them have used this term and they don't know what the heck they talking about, okay? So this is the concept of a seed website in Google's ecosystem. Just hold tight. Number two, EEAT in combination with these types of concepts. We're going to cover that as well. And then number three, if you are going to build links, how to build less links and target more links with more juice, right? So you don't need to build as many links as you might think. If you are going to do it and you're not focusing on your brand, which we'll get into in a minute, okay? If you're just trying to focus on the authority factor, you don't have to build a ton of links. You just need to be very specific and targeted about what you do. All right, so let's first get into the concept of what a seed site is. So Google needs a way to classify and catalog the internet, okay? It is a requirement for it to be able to serve it back to you, right? It's a requirement for it to be able to, from a machine standpoint, decipher what's good and bad, and also decipher who to trust and who not to trust, and who to have. You have to earn the machine's trust, right? If you're new, you have to earn the trust. So basically that means that it has to have a comparison of who it already trusts and then who it does not trust, right? Think about that, okay? Remember that concept. Keep that in your mind, okay? It has to have a comparison. It has to say, well, if the most trusted website is a score of a 10, a machine has to compare two things against each other in order to be able to do actions. So that means that it has to be able to have a 10 to compare you to, right? Ooh, now we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere interesting, aren't we? I think we are. All right, so seed websites, and no, this isn't New York Times, yada, 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 okay? If you're thinking of jobs or social media or sports, These are the websites that you think of naturally, right? On the left, jobs, you think Indeed, Monster, right? For sure. They're going to be the ones that you hear on the radio. They're the ones that that's what you're going to do. Maybe LinkedIn is under jobs as well. Okay. Social media, what do you think of? Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, Twitter, X? Yes, I mean, those are quite literally the social media platforms in the United States. So, of course, sports, ESPN, Yahoo Sports, maybe, there's somewhere, if you're doing like a golf website, of course, there's going to be something under there for golf. So think of these as Google needs to know that there are parent websites that dominate specific topic areas. Okay? It just needs to know that. So think about this in terms of seed websites. Okay? Don't worry, we're going to get into this in further detail. We're going to keep going, but I'm just trying to, number one, this is explaining to you the concept, okay? So this is the concept. All right, now, how does this compare to EEAT? Okay, so this is where it gets really kind of confusing. So let's say, for example, you have the perfect brand, and you are building the perfect brand. That perfect brand is going to be Indeed. Let's say you are Indeed, or maybe you're building a career website, okay? And you're trying to start a jobs website where you post jobs or something like that. The reality is that you might get links from places like Indeed, Monster, maybe Google Jobs, somewhere that's more specific to your website. And then on the right side, you're going to have brand mentions that are all across the internet. So if you haven't watched my video about, if you haven't watched my video on this, I will link it in the description. This is a little bit more on EEAT, but basically brand mentions. So if you're building backlinks, you have to have more brand mentions. And what you should do is you basically should separate these two. And why is this? So let me just try to make this simple. Brand mentions might happen if you have news about your company. So think about like Uber as an example, okay? The company Uber. So like Uber became what they became not only because so many people linked to them, but because also anytime that they had news, like, they were launching in a new city or they released a new feature, it was disclosed and covered by news outlets. And so the brand of Uber became mentioned more, okay? And so that's kind of what you need to recreate. You need to create these websites that have a connective tissue to you on the subject matter that you're trying to be an authority on, but you also need to create multiple brand mentions and kind of build up that catalog of Google seeing that people are talking about you. It's kind of complicated if you think about it. It's, number one, this is expensive to do now. This is why I say PR, link building. If you're just buying links, I mean, it's just like not going to work. It may work a little bit, but Google's made it a little bit more complicated with these brand mentions. Okay, so let's take a look at something. Let's how do you? I think the thing here to realize is that we're going to focus on the left side. We're going to focus on the seed sites and understanding and seeing visually how people are kind of getting some of this trust. Now, disclosure. We're going to look at some really old types of metrics, stuff called trust flow and citation flow, which is super funny because it's old school SEO stuff. The question, the thing that I'm going to get a lot in these comments is, does it still work? That doesn't work anymore. You have to understand, you have to do both of these things. The seed sites, which are for your specific authority, and then the EEAT sites, which are more like news outlets that are talking about you, that are talking about people, and talking about entities. So that way your entity of a brand is getting built within the Google ecosystem. And Google is looking for both of those things. And then when you layer in really good, high quality content, boy, that's when the real sparks start to happen. So it's really just a combination of these three things. And then you can get going, honestly. And it sounds like it's that easy. The content definitely helps, and these backlinks definitely help. And yeah, so, okay, there's this tool out there called Majestic. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to pay for it. I did pay for it so you could see how this works. If you are gonna be doing link building, like, no, I'm not, this is not an affiliate video, yada, yada, yada. This is actually like a tool that nobody talks about. So that's the reason why I like it, is that nobody talks about it. And because nobody talks about it, that's probably a good thing, just as an FYI. But if you put in a website like an Indeed, what it does is it actually gives you a little bit of the link graph here on the right. So think of like what Google has to do. They have to create a link graph, right, to be able to categorize and group the internet. So you could see if we're creating a employment website, it actually says topical trust flow, business, and employment. Okay. So Indeed's got like a ton, of course, right? But we're going to say, okay, well, that's Indeed. I've pulled up a simple website. This is careersidekick.com. And they've also got business, employment, topical trust flow, okay? And what you could do within this tool is if you go into backlinks or referring domains, but I like backlinks. Hopefully I'm going to the right section. Let's let it load here. It's going to take forever. Okay. So if you go in here, what you can see is you can actually see which link is giving that topical trust flow. So remember, I'm creating a jobs website. That's what I'm doing here. And so if I'm creating a jobs website, that means, well, business and human resources and business and employment align with my what I'm going to be talking about. Remember, key is that it has to align with really good content. But yeah, that's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that in a second here too. So, all right. So if you are looking at these links, what you could see is that there's a score next to it. It says 25, which means a very high score. And you can actually see which websites are passing the most topical authority. So that's really cool. So you can see jobhunt.org. You can see, career lincolnhighvalley.org. I have no idea what that is. Okay, and you can see all the different places where it's passing the most juice. Anytime that you get a link from one of these types of websites, it will start to pass it down to you. And the interesting thing here is that you want to just build as many. You're not going to get like a ton, but you're going to build as many of the business employment backlinks as you could possibly get. But honestly, even just 1, 2, 5, that's like a great start. You don't need thousands of links. You only just need some very specific targeted ones that, you can hopefully build by doing some simple outreach, or by just honestly just focusing all of your outreach on one website and just go for it rather than doing this kind of like spray and pray method. So you could see okay, so if we go into live career, it says 25 points essentially passed down. If we pull open live career, it's because they've got 51 points. So you're seeing how this works. You essentially get closer and closer and closer to a seed website that has a majority of the topical trust flow. So most likely live career has a link from Indeed. And then as this website, Career Sidekick, gets a link from live career, it goes down and down and down the line. Okay. So as you are doing link building, use a tool like this and try to align what it is that you're building to the topical trust flow opportunities. Now, if you were to pull open, which I highly recommend, any of these websites that are like jobhunt.org, if you were to pull them up into Ahrefs or SEMrush or something like that, what you'll see is that a majority of them perform very well. And so the data is there. If you want to look up the data, you can actually see that a majority of these sites that have the topical trust flow, when they don't screw up their content, they actually have a really great, they have really long lasting websites. Now, most of these as well do focus on that branding portion. They're not just building like 5 links and then expecting things to work. They are also going back and making sure they re-up and refresh on a lot of this stuff. So they're getting brand mentions. They're continuing to make sure that they get news coverage, PR coverage, things like that on top of, their existing brand that's there. So all you need to do is essentially build a base of your topical trust flow that you're getting, and then you can start really working on that EEAT if you want to see some really gangbuster results or long-term results, really. So this is definitely more focused on someone who's looking for, building a brand over the long term, because majority of these, I'm going to mention that again, if you pull them up into Ahrefs, they all do very well. So like careerchange.com, live career, of course, job hunt, any of these, if I'm presuming that I'm building a career website, are doing really, really fantastic. Okay, so that's the tool. It's very, very simple to understand, in my opinion. There's a lot of stuff under here. I really don't use any of it. Like, that's the downside, is that like anchor text and all that, I don't use any of that stuff. You don't really need to worry about it. I already mentioned to you, you don't need to worry about anchor text or any of that good stuff. It's all this tool is doing is it's helping you to find the places to go and do the outreach if you really are, planning on doing that. So, like I mentioned, these are the links. Once you start to open them, you can see the exact place where the person received the link, which is sometimes very useful. You get the person here that you could potentially reach out to. You can just go down the line, and you would be surprised, not all of them are actually articles. Some of them are like resource hubs and stuff like that you could easily submit your website to. So don't be discouraged thinking that you're always going to have to get like link insertions or something. That's actually not the case. Sometimes they're like directories and things like that. Sometimes they're very easy link wins. And so if you're really interested in building links, I'd highly recommend checking out this tool and seeing how you can use it. And again, really just kind of following what websites do the best in the tool, and then taking their topical authority metrics and trying to recreate them. It's not a silver bullet, just keep that in mind, but it definitely will help you along the path. And it's worked for me very well. It will continue to work for the sites that have used it. And that's that. All right, that is my video for today. Keep in mind, I'm not pulling it up, but I do some consultative services. I really don't have anything to sell you. You can just keep watching my videos all for free. You can learn all my tips and tricks, and that's just that. But people have been reaching out to me for the $3,000 package, where it's basically just me doing all the content strategy and content execution with a small team that comes from, the pros. It's not just some random writers. These are people that you would see the writing, you would say, wow, okay, this is very different. You're going to understand very quickly why it ranks. Okay, it's new information, new insights. Info gain is the future of Google. Okay, and then other times I work with like e-commerce brands, people like that. I do ask for a $15,000 minimum investment, and that's usually over multiple months. And that's because I need at least 3 to 6 months to be able to create results, period. So if you're starting a new website, a niche website, starting a new company or brand, I need at least 3 to 6 months to be able to create results. So my email is in my profile. You can find it if you want to. And then I really hope that today's video was valuable. It's very short, very sweet. And if you're here, you are one of the best SEOs on the internet. And you know what? I hope your charts are going up and to the right. The other SEOs are playing with taco trucks, and we are playing with big rigs. All right, hugs and kisses. Until next time.